Greetings and welcome to another edition of Fill Your Own Void, the podcast. Again, it's Fill Your Own Void, the podcast, where we will be discussing topics that's near and dear to you and yours, as well as topics that's near and dear to me and mine. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Chuck Rose, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the author of Personally Improving Mental Performance, as well as Access to Success. And I'll be your partner on our journey to becoming our own life coaches and navigating our path to enlightenment and increased quality of life. Again, I'll be your partner on our journey to navigating our path to enlightenment and an increased quality of life by our own definition. Now, we talked about a lot of things in previous episodes, but we started this podcast, for those of you who are just listening in for the first time, with the baseline question. Are you getting what you want out of life? Are you currently living a life that you desire, deserve, and dream about? If not, hopefully our discussion in this podcast will help you get there. And if you are, we invited you to send in your facts from the field and best practices to fillyourownvoid@gmail.com to help us kind of copy and steal those things and flow through life with that same calm, chillful assurance that you do. Now, if you don't, hopefully, again, our podcast will help you fix that. You can follow us on all of the major social media platforms. That's Facebook, that's IG, Instagram, of course. You can look at us and look us up at YouTube channel. All you got to do is search Fill Your Own Void with Chuck Rose or just Chuck Rose. We talked a little bit about those life coaches that get paid a lot of money to tell you, do this, watch this, eat this. They don't need anybody to fill their own void, and they are their own life coaches. And again, that's what we're going to do on this particular podcast here at Fill Your Own Void. We're going to cover all the endowments, mind, body, and spirit, as well as other disciplines that we enjoy: sports, fitness, finance, philosophy, self-help, and more importantly, those topics that you send in of your choice: parental, marital, physical, financial, emotional, spiritual. We want to calibrate across all the endowments because, again, he who knows others is clever, but he who knows himself is enlightened. And even if you were one of those individuals that called into the podcast and said, hey, Chuck, I think I got this thing with me. I just made a mill. I just got the promotion. We talked about that's just the financial and that's just the professional endowment. What about parental? What about spiritual? Again, we want to calibrate across all at 100. Again, today's subject matter experts is just like last week. You and me. I want to first thank our last three. Ron Dane, the Heisman Trophy winner. Again, Ron Dane, the Heisman Trophy winner, as well as the Yogi, Kerman Dane, and the survivor, Andre Thomas. Again, support Blissful Healing Yoga. And please, family, support Andre's Second Chance Foundation, the survivor. He had a great story to tell. You can, revisit that. And again, you can go back to the previous episodes that housed at Spreaker.com. Again, that's SPREAKER.com. But today's factor is birds of a feather flock together. It's going to get good. Today's factor is birds of a feather flock together. And the implied meaning of that particular proverb is transparent and very, very accurate. Those of you of similar, tastes congregate in groups. And if those of people who are of the same character associate with one another. But here's the thing. It gets further and deeper than that. It's more reflective. Not just about style, but also the belief this proverb also means of the same quality in life. Now, I challenge you to take a circle test. And I'll get a little bit more about some of the questions that you can actually apply to yourself with regards to this particular topic. And I, again, covered this in my book, Personally Improving Mental Performance, under Principle 3, Personally Improving My Presence. Take the closest 5 people in your circle. Are any of them living the quality of life that you desire, deserve, and dream about? Or are you the big fish in the small pond? I venture to say the 5 people that you just put into that particular equation is within 10% of each one of any criteria. Let's take it like this. Any criteria that you may use. Income, attitude, health. And if you're a student, I would say GPA. Seriously. You got to strategically build your circle top heavy. You got to choose individuals to be in that circle. We talked about how can a poor man teach a poor man to be rich. Don't get rid of old friends, but you need to know how to upgrade and include some new ones that can be your models and your mentors. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about this particular principle that we're covering today. Again, that being birds of a feather flock together. Let me go ahead and get to the book here. It's been a minute since I took a peek at it as well. So I want to see what we're talking about. So I opened up this particular chapter and I said, I'm sure you've heard of the proverb, birds of a feather flock together. We talked about the implied, meaning of it. And it means that people of the same beliefs, customs, personality, style, status, and rank, and more importantly, quality of life, associate themselves with one another. You see, I want you to leaving this podcast, I want you to take a circle test. You should take one probably at least once per year. A circle test is really, really easy to do. See, what you do, you just take your homies, your homegirls, your dogs, your boys, your girl, whatever you want to call them, your BFFs. And you basically just say, hey, all right, you introduce whatever criteria you want. Mental, marital, parental, income. If you're a student, GPA. And I venture to tell you or to say, and you'll find out at the end of this circle test, that these folk within your circle, these 5 people, are within 10% of you. 10% north or 10% south. So let's use example net worth. So if you say, all right, well, what's your net worth? And let's use some round figures. And you say, well, I make $30K a year. I guarantee you that the folks in your circle are 10% below you or above you. That means that the one on the bottom side of that is at 27,000. The one on the top side is at 33. Now you think about it, let it marinate, get back to me, feelyourownvoid@gmail.com, and tell me whether I'm correct or not. If they don't, I'll be surprised. So again, you might be that big fish in a small pond. Again, you got to build your circle top heavy. And if that's the case, then you need to find someone that's living the net worth that you want to live and bring them into your circle and spend some time with them, eat lunch, sit by their feet. You have to strategically build this circle out. I talked about the proverb, how can a poor man teach a poor man to be rich? It's not just about finances. So I'd ask you again, you can do this, in several different exercises. You can add any type of criteria that I shared with you to this particular exercise, but I would be very, very interested to find out exactly, where you fall. So you can use these same force rankings and you can say, all right, let's rank them 1 through 6 or 1 through 5, 1 being the best, 6 being the worst. Then you got to figure out where you fall. And then you got to think to yourself, is the one that's number 1 living the highest quality of life, meaning that they have the most harmony across at least some of the great majority of all the endowments? And then I bet you, and I venture to say that the one that's at the bottom side of that 5 comparison, with you being the 6th, that they're lacking across the great majority of these endowments from a calibration perspective. So this is deep. You got to think about it. You might want to play this one again. So with that being said, you got to earn the right to floss, and the only way you can earn the right to floss, and that's going to be next episode. I don't want to give up the thunder and steal my own thunder, but I want you to meditate on this. Remember, birds of a feather flock together. And if you want to soar with eagles, you can't be on the ground with chickens. That just came to me. That wasn't even in my notes. So let's talk about this again, family. You can follow me on Spreaker.com. Listen to the previous episodes, Spreaker.com. We've covered some great material. We've covered breaking the generational curse. Tomorrow's a new day. Yesterday really did end last night. The game of life has no gender or ethnicity. You're already the CEO of you. And last week was really, really hot. Transforming versus conforming. We've had sports disciplines and sport, as far as football goes. Again, Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dane talked about thoughts become things with Carmen Dane, and attitude determines altitude with the survivor. And I'm going to close this day's episode with this particular quote. Our self-image, like I said before, tend to go together. And if you change one, you'll change the other. But I think even better for this particular episode, when we talk about birds of a feather flock together, let me find one that's even more powerful for you guys. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Put in no deposits, expect no withdrawals. Head for the stars, I'll meet you there.